All right, we're back with another edition of Workplace Safety. I'm Jay Smith, and here with Daryn Llewellyn again. And we've been talking about some things that we get questions from clients a lot of times, just some things that a lot of times we see in the field. And one of the things that we're going to discuss today involves culture change and training, something that is possibly the most important thing about this whole safety.
Yeah, it really is. And definitely a subject near and dear to my heart. You know, I started out as a maintenance electrician in, 1984. Like what, 20?
Wow. 1984.
Yeah, I don't look that old, do I?
Wow. Okay.
You were like 6 or something. The culture of safety and the culture that electricians worked in back then was, it's totally different than it is now. It's been a huge amount of changes. And, we did everything live back then, wearing polyester disco shirts and some things left over from the 70s. And we didn't, I never had a safety class, electrical safety class.
Wow.
I worked 10 years in factories and before I started this company. And 10 years, the very first electrical safety class I was in, I was the instructor. Yeah, I was the instructor. So there's a huge culture change now, and it's a good thing. We need to change. But, there's a huge push to change cultures in plants now, and it's very, very much needed. And what I mean about culture is, we electrical types, we like to say things like, well, I've been doing this for 25 years,
sure.
and I'm not dead yet, and I don't need to, need these things. And well, if you got that attitude, you're just not very excuse me, you're just not very informed.
Sure.
There's been a huge evolution in electrical safety over the last 25 years, thank goodness. And if you're still doing things like you did in 1984, that's a big problem.
Right.
And the culture change, one of the big keys to it is the training.
Right.
The training has to be looked at not as just teaching these 70E procedures. Mm-hmm. Because honestly, that's a pretty thin book.
Absolutely.
Anybody could read that thing.
There's a little more to it than just that.
Yeah.
Right.
The training has to be looked at is culture change.
Right.
We're changing a culture, right. And you can't get that with
And that's tough to do. And that's where this topic comes up a lot is. Safety manager at an XYZ corporation a lot of times is not possibly maybe not really well liked by the electrical guys because this kid's young, he's come in and he's made sure that the walks are salted and all the lines are painted and all this, but he doesn't know anything about electrical. I've been doing this, but like you said, I've been doing this for 20 years. And you and I actually heard one time, I don't know if you remember, we was at a power plant and we actually heard a guy that was just in an arc flash analysis or an arc flash incident, actually I believe his second. And he said that he's now learned that he can stay out of it. He knows how to stay out of it.
Yeah.
He will now dodge the next one. And, these things occur in milliseconds.
I don't believe he's got to dodge the next one because I do believe the employer let him go shortly after that.
All right, I understand. But not to single this out, but that is the mindset,
right.
And that is when you say culture change, I think you need to understand what culture we're dealing with, and that is, and not that there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with an electrician having a cowboy attitude, being tough as nails, riding a Harley to work when it's 20 degrees outside. Not a problem with it. It's just these events are occurring. It's happening to these guys that have been there for 20 years, 30 years. Because it is something that they do routinely and they take it for granted.
Right.
The safety professionals that are out there in the world are being educated on this issue and are now faced with bringing this issue to folks that sometimes, a lot of times, actually don't even want to hear about it.
Yeah, a lot of times they don't want to hear about it because it's not the way we do it. We've done it this other way all this time, and I'm still alive, so that must have been the right way.
Exactly.
And, the training, and one thing you can really do to get the culture change done. I've been hiring electrical safety instructors for a lot of years here now, mm-hmm. And there's one criteria above all others that I'm looking for when I hire a guy, and that's passion. Right. They have to believe it, and it also has to be somebody that's been in the trenches. You have to have somebody whoever's going to teach your electrical safety class, whether you hire an outside consulting company like ours to do the training, or a community college, or whoever that is, or maybe you even going to do it yourself. You know, you're going to designate somebody in the facility as the instructor for this. They have to have passion. Right. They also have to have carried a tool belt in their past. Right. They have to have been an industrial electrical maintenance person, or work, whatever facility you're working in.
There's going to be a trust issue there.
Yeah,
I mean, that's where the guys in the class are going to feel a little more comfortable. Okay, this guy, oh wow, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's did it. He's not talking over me.
Right.
He's not, preaching to me more or less.
He is me. He's one of me.
Exactly.
He's one of me that's been to the mountain and has had his attitude changed.
Right.
And so you have to have an instructor with experience and a passion for electrical safety, because think about who the students are in this class. The students in this class are those guys and gals that have been electricians for 20 or 30 years and are still alive and think they've been doing it right all along and are resistive to change.
Right.
So you've got to have one of them that has been changed to do the preaching, and it needs to be done, with the zeal of an evangelist to get these words across. And it helps if the instructor has been through some electrical incidents. Nothing says safety like a scar.
Right. And we've got a few of those on our staff. Absolutely. Well, and changing this culture, timing I think is key. Safety training is good at all times, but as a company that has made the decision to investigate going through 70E, investigate some of the safe work practices that have been spelled out, training is actually key, I believe, in our experiences, up front or during or in that process of trying to move towards an arc flash analysis, because as you alluded to with these folks that are going to be involved with it, they are the ones that are resisting. And if they can get in and get in early and get that passionate message that, this isn't going to make my life worse. Right. This is going to make my life better. And understand that, arc flash analysis isn't just about wearing more clothing than you've ever worn before. It's actually about likely wearing less clothing.
Yeah, generally it does. It results in wearing less PPE.
Right. And not only that, but not only changing their culture, but maybe making life easier for whoever does their arc flash analysis. Because these individuals, these electricians or these plant maintenance folks are going to be a big part of an arc flash study. The more that they understand it, going in, the easier it's going to be on the consultant or the firm that has been hired to crawl around and collect a lot of electrical data. And so that resistance is not, so it's not only education, but it's also, I think, making it go smoother.
Yeah, it's a real key thing in your culture change to get the people in your maintenance department that are the most well-respected for their electrical knowledge. Get these people on board with this, and the others will then follow too. You have to have involvement from the people that these new rules and PPE are going to affect. They have to be part of the process to put this forward. You can spend all the money you want to on new PPE and arc flash assessment, but if you've not done the training properly and you've not done the culture change right, you've wasted all your money. You just look compliant till the next person gets hurt.
Yeah. Well, it's a tough thing to do. It is achievable, and I think we've touched on a couple points here today. And obviously, if anyone that watches this has questions, we're more than happy to give some more explanation. But I think that does it for today, and we'll see what we can talk about next time.
See you next time.